Hello everyone, I'm Matt McClusky, host of Matt McSports Fix that airs on the radio every Friday morning from 7 to 9, but now we have Matt McSports Fix, the web version, that will air whenever you want, just simply by clicking and watching. Now what's the goal of the show? It's the same as the radio actually. We're going to put an emphasis on all of the local teams that we have to offer. That includes obviously the Frontier League, along with JCC Athletics, and other athletics in the area like the Watertown Red and Black or the Watertown Rams, even the Watertown Privateers. We will have all of them covered extensively. And I mean, we will have video to offer you, we will have interviews to offer, and of course, some analysis to go along with it. It is going to be a fun ride here as we take you around the North Country, from South Jeff to South Louis, all the way over to Clayton with Thousand Islands, and again, everywhere here locally in Watertown. We will have it all for you. It's putting an emphasis, but a spotlight on these players, on these teams, on these coaches, and more importantly, on these communities. As these teams offer great stories for us, and whenever there's a great story, especially surrounding a team like Carthage Lacrosse, let's say for boys right now, the community gets involved, and the community cares, and we will be there to share that story, their story, your story, with everybody. And that's what we'll do on a regular basis. newvisions.com, our website also on the radio show, WNER1410.com. Some of the ways you will be able to access this web show each and every time through the online, through New Visions and WNER1410.com. We will take a quick commercial break. We'll come back with more to offer here on Matt Mick Sports Fix on the web through newvisions.com. Welcome back, everyone. Now, it is springtime, although it hasn't really felt like spring here in the North Country with the winter that we had lasting seemingly forever. But we have hit spring. We've hit some decent days-ish days out there between some colder temps and some rain. But it is spring. Baseball, softball, unfortunately in the Frontier League, had to delay their seasons, which right now a lot of teams have actually only hit the field once, maybe twice. That will change in the coming weeks, and we will, of course, have that covered extensively. Lacrosse, however, has had about 3 weeks worth of action on the field, and that includes, of course, when you're talking lacrosse locally, you're going to talk about Carthage boys lacrosse. The Comets, again, very dominant. Preseason, I had a chance to talk with Comets head coach Kirk Benaquatro, who told me his team was poised to make another run in the Frontier League, which it's done forever. But he said, look out for teams like Watertown, maybe even a South Jeff, teams that are a little down in the past or have been a little down, rising up. So far, it hasn't been the case. Carthage is dominating everybody in the field, and it looks like the Comets will be set for the Frontier League playoffs, and probably to make another run in the sectionals, where it will likely face Jamesville DeWitt. JD has ended Carthage's season the last few seasons, but this year, things could be a little different. Carthage has a full team and a lot of experience back. JD actually is struggling a little bit down in central New York. So Carthage is one of those teams to keep an eye on, and as this series goes each week, we will without a doubt have a good extensive coverage on the Comets, as they look like one of the teams that could easily make it into late May, even further with states. Team to watch out for. Also, girls lacrosse, generally we talk in the Frontier League, Carthage, and that's basically it. Different this season. Carthage is still good, but because of so much talent leaving, the Comets are a little down compared to where they've been in the past. However, teams like South Jeff, with Coach Jen Williams, General Brown, and Watertown all look very dominant. The Frontier League for girls is wide open. Just recently, we've seen South Jeff, which went to Florida and did very well, come back and beat General Brown. The Lions are a team a lot of people figured could win the sectional. South Jeff wins that game just recently. So now you're thinking maybe South Jeff, maybe General Brown, maybe Watertown. And again, once it gets late in the year, Carthage will be there with that experience. So the Frontier League for girls lacrosse is completely wide open and will be a ton of fun to watch. And of course, we will have that covered extensively as well. It's going to be fun. We've got some teams that will go very far, more than normal. Usually, again, as I said, it's Carthage for both boys and girls. This year, Comets boys will absolutely go far. Girls-wise, it is going to be a complete race to the finish line. between the Lions, Spartans, Cyclones, and again, probably the Comets. So a lot of fun. As I said, unfortunately, that winter weather has delayed softball, baseball teams, so they are just getting out into the flow of things. I would expect a school or program like Watertown to be there at the end. Cyclones coach Matt Covey always has that team primed and ready. Elsewhere, it may be a little bit of a down year for Frontier League baseball. I think South Louis is a team to look out for, maybe even Sandy Creek, but South Louis has had a good run lately, in softball and baseball for that matter. And I would imagine that the Falcons will be flying high as well late in the season, but we'll have to wait and see. It will be interesting to see how softball and baseball play out. And if you don't know, and you likely do because you're watching this and you care about local sports, Frontier League baseball and softball, no playoffs this year. Because of the delayed season, Frontier League itself decided to cancel playoffs. All of these teams now will try to get regular season in, and as soon as the regular season ends, it's off to sectional play. That is in doubt at the moment because of so many delays, so many postponements and cancellations. Who knows if these games will even get completed? But we do know no playoffs for baseball and softball, and that's unfortunate because there's prestige in winning the Frontier League playoff. You get the banner, you get the little thing that comes with the banner, and you put it up in your gym, and you feel good about it. It gives you something. Winning the sectional is so difficult to do, and it's so rare. Every year, a team will win the Frontier League in playoffs. Every year, that chance is there for the kids. You know it from the beginning. And unfortunately, that's not there for softball and baseball this year. So that is something to keep an eye on. We will absolutely talk with coaches and players about the concept of squeezing the season in now because of the weather and the fact that there's not going to be a playoff for either baseball or softball. I would imagine some of the coaches are not too happy about that decision. It's weather, though. What can you do? We'll figure it out. We'll have it covered as we go along. We'll take another break here, but we will be back. We'll talk a little SU, something we will do extensively as well. The Orange, football, basketball, lacrosse, we'll have it covered. We'll talk about it next. And we're back here at McSports Fix with myself, Matt McClusky, and we are going to talk a little SU right now. We'll have a lot more as we go along, but it's important to remember two things here when you're talking Syracuse and you're talking late April, early May: football and lacrosse. Football, spring practice, spring game just wrapped up, and it was kind of a success for the Orange this season in the sense that 4,000 plus people went out to the Carrier Dome last week to watch SU football play its annual spring game. 4,000 people is not a lot of people. Frontier League teams probably draw about as many for games that they play at the Dome. But SU football forever has had difficulties to get people to the Dome, in the fall for that matter, but certainly in April. It's not an easy thing. I was there. It was a lot of fun. 4,000 people, not great, but it's something to build off of. Plus, if you missed it, it was free parking. It was free admission, and there was free food. You missed out, I'm telling you. So keep that in mind for next year. But SU football overall, I think coming off the bowl win last year going forward, is a team that is probably in that 6 to 8 win range. And while 6 wins doesn't sound great, and 8 wins is kind of a low ceiling, it's pretty good for SU football. This isn't 1 or 2 or 3 wins anymore. We're talking 6, 7, 8 wins. We're talking competitive in the ACC. And without a doubt, you can expect another bowl for Scott Schaefer and the Orange. We'll have a ton of that as we go forward in the fall, or at least late August. But just keep an eye out there for it. Keep it in your mind that SU football concluded its spring practice. There are players to look out for. There's experience back, momentum building for the Orange. The other aspect when you're talking Syracuse this late in the year, at least school-wise, SU lacrosse. Orange are on fire. The men's lacrosse team is number 4 in the country, 9-3 overall, and on a 5-game win streak. Now, what's impressive about that isn't the fact that SU is highly ranked. It's not about any of the attributes behind it. What it actually is impressive is the fact that Syracuse was crushed earlier this year by Maryland. Crushed in a way it's never been crushed by Duke, and beaten at Virginia. Those 3 losses early in the season had people thinking nothing would ever come of this year, that it would be a lost year, and maybe Syracuse wouldn't even make the postseason. Now, 5 games later, 5 wins later, and Syracuse looks as dominant as it has looked in years. It is poised to make, and you see some of the highlights from a game earlier this year right now, and we will have more as we go. Syracuse is poised to make a run in a way that it has a couple years ago, even just last year, I guess, getting to the championship game. But bigger picture, this is a team that has the experience. Chris Dadio at faceoff is winning faceoffs now, and Kevin Rice, and a lot of scores, a lot of defense. Faceoff looks good. Syracuse is coming around in a way, as I said, people didn't expect. So as the Orange now hit the ACC tournament, up next will be the tournament itself, the NCAA tournament in May. And if you got off the bandwagon early, get back on, because Syracuse is looking good at 9-3 right now, and that'll change with the ACC tournament. But either way, no matter what happens in Pennsylvania at the ACC tourney, win or lose, Syracuse come next month in May will look outstanding as one of the top teams to beat. And I think moving to the ACC is a big reason why Syracuse has turned the corner. It opened the year, again, with Maryland, at Duke. Those are tough games. Those were conference games. In years past, Syracuse would have a difficult schedule, but it would be spaced out a little bit more. Syracuse would play Princeton, Johns Hopkins, but have mixed in teams like St. John's, winnable games against the Colgate. Now with that ACC, it comes at you in droves. In this win streak for Syracuse, they've beaten Notre Dame, an ACC opponent, top 10 in the country. North Carolina, an ACC opponent, top 5. It took time for Syracuse to get to this point, but it's because the ACC is really just so different. It started heavy with those teams. It's gone all the way through. And luckily, Syracuse has withstood that fire, that storm, and gotten itself better. And it's playing the best lacrosse it can at the perfect time as we wind down the season. Look out for the Orange. A lot of good. SU Hoops off another decent year, ended sadly, poorly against Dayton, but not bad. Football's on the rise. Lacrosse is back to where it should be. It's a good time to be an SU fan, and we will have it covered for you. As I said, football, basketball, lacrosse, right here, each and every week. We'll have it for you. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and wrap up this show. I'm Matt McClusky. Stick around. And we're back, everyone, concluding the first edition here of Matt McSports Fix online, newvisions.com powering us. You can also check it out at WNER1410.com. Now, each and every week, we're going to provide you with these stories I've discussed. Obviously, Syracuse will be pretty easy. Some of the local sports, though, be it a team from anywhere in the North Country, Lewis County, Jefferson County, maybe even a little St. Lawrence, who knows. It's tough for us to actually keep track of everything. What's easy, though, is for you to tell us. You help us put on these stories. Email us at mattmcsportsfix@yahoo.com. Now, you see the email address right there, MattMcSportsFix, mattmcsportsfix. A little weird, but you'll get the hang of it, at yahoo.com. We want your feedback on A, the show itself. Tell me how good I am, otherwise I'll cry. And B, tell us what to cover. We want to know. If you have, how about your student? How about your player on your team? Or how about your son or daughter? We want to know about them. Let us know. We'll get out there. We'll interview. We'll get some highlights. We'll put it up right here for you. You'll see it right here behind me. How about that? This big studio, your student, your player, your son or daughter could get some coverage. And we want to do that. So the email again, mattmcsportsfix@yahoo.com. Each and every week we'll be back with that and the latest on what's happening in the Frontier League with SU, and as I mentioned earlier, the Rams, which get going soon, get down to the fairgrounds. We'll be there. Hopefully you will be. Also the Red and Black, the same fairgrounds, will be there. Hopefully you'll be there. And if the Privateers are back next year, who knows? If they are, we'll have that covered. That's going to be an interesting thing to follow if you care about local sports as well. Privateers' future, kind of dicey. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, coming up. But stick around. We've got plenty more of these ahead of us. It'll be a little bit different next time because we will have more highlights, we'll have interviews. But this is kind of the primer to show you it's out here. We want your help, we want your excitement, we want your clicks, and we'll hopefully have this each and every week for you. For everyone behind the scenes, I'm Matt McClusky. Check out newvisions.com and WNER1410.com. We'll be back with more Matt McSports Fix.